Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about Green Witchcraft. I know, another book. I swear this title has been used quite a bit for a variety of books. But anyways, let's jump into this specific one. So this book is pretty meh for me. Like, it's not necessarily bad, but it's not really good either. It just is. So one of the things is that if you're going to write a book, that there is a lot of other books already out on the topic. I personally feel like, A, you probably want to stick with the things that are working in the, general, collection of books you're competing against. And, 2, you gotta add something to it. And this didn't. In fact, it was lacking. So this has, the most generic warning on pages that nobody's gonna look at. I think I'm the only person in the world that when they go to do a book review on, witchcraft books, you're looking at, the publication page. And I'm pretty sure that's, the only spot that has the disclaimer, really. And, I know that they don't need to put it all over the book, everywhere, but at the same time, a little heads up, a little warning. You know, I'm thinking back to the books that I've read from, Lisa Chamberlain, where she mentions herbs and stuff and actively tells you the side effects, the don't use if things. And of course, it's not an extensive list, but it's there. There's a mention, there's a thing. And even the most basic ones, typically, at the very least, will be like, hey, you're pregnant, don't go near. Or if you're breastfeeding, also don't go near. Because those are pretty common. And there's a long list that your medical team will be able to tell you can't go near, if that happens to be your status of existing at the time. And this had none of that. And so to me, it's I know that you don't have to add it, that we always encourage the reader to research further. And of course, there's the argument of where is that further? If I was ever to write a book on that, I'm going to have to do a lot of research to find where this further research exists, because nobody actually says where. Anyways, besides the point. So that was one of those things that it's if you're going to mention this stuff, where is the warnings? And also, there's a little bit on, foraging and stuff of, hey, probably not in the city. Because, population, you're going to have, pollution. You're going to have, weed and pest control. And, you don't know what you're going to find. If it's a sketchy area, very likely you might find, drugs and stuff, the leftover bits. There's just a lot, there's plenty of places I've walked where you find open beer cans, you can sometimes find needles, there's just things that you gotta watch out for when you're out in nature, because a lot of people go there because they're away from, surveillance and stuff. So, those things, great, glad you included it, but, it's also included everywhere. So again, and it's not that the writing is bad in this book, it's just, it's okay. There was nothing new to add to the conversation, nothing to make it stand out. If anything, the thing that made it stand out isn't a good thing. Because the main thing that stood out from this is that, and I've had a few books like this, where it's somewhere between beginner to intermediate. Where you're crossing that threshold is kind of where this book lands. And it's whatever. But the thing that really stood out is that the only thing I remember from this book is the lists, and it's not a good thing. And I think other people had complained about this too. There's no rhyme or reason. The lists are organized the most chaotically. It feels like instead of organizing the stuff you had figured out as the author picking and choosing what you're going to add, instead of organizing it afterwards, they just left it in the order they decided on. It is so random. Most of the time, you're gonna pick an order. It's going to be most frequently used and easy to find to least easy to find, or most commonly alphabetical. And even then, even within the lists, other people had complained about this too, that it just bounced everywhere. They weren't concise lists, but for me, it was the fact that it wasn't alphabetical that really bothered me. I know it's a stupid thing, but it's really bothersome. And it's why did the editor not catch this? If the author didn't, whatever. But again, I judge harsher if you're coming from a publishing house. You have way more resources than self-published authors. So I hold you to a higher standard. And you have official editors. It has to go through at least, I would assume, 1 or 2 before it hits publish. Why did no one stop that? Why did nobody go and be like, dude, put this in alphabetical order? What you doing? It's a random thing, but that's the only thing that really stood out for this book. And again, it wasn't a good thing, but I know it's nitpicky. Like, the rest of the book, it's fine. Like, you know, the rituals are like, whatever, spells, rituals, things, they're, whatever. Like, there's so many books on the topic of green witchery that it's like, you need to be able to stand out from the crowd. Otherwise, you just blend in. And this was a blend in kind of book for me. You might love it. I personally haven't found very many good green witchcraft books. This wasn't it for me. But I would love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you would like to join over there, there's always a bunch of extra content. So feel free to check it out. It's linked down below. Also linked in the description is my blog. If you want to check out my books and stuff, you can find it there. If not, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, or do both. That would be better. Do both. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. Here, I try and post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.